Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today we will show you an easy way on how to visit Canada. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. About the document. A visitor visa, also called a temporary resident visa, is an official document that CIC or Citizenship Immigration Canada stick in your passport. It shows that you meet the requirements needed to enter Canada. Most travelers need a visitor visa to travel to Canada. You may also need one if you're transiting through a Canadian airport on your way to your final destination. You can apply for a visitor visa online or on paper. How long you can stay? Most visitors can stay for up to 6 months in Canada. At the port of entry, the Border Services Officer may allow you to stay for less or more than 6 months. If so, they'll put the date you need to leave by in your passport. They might also give you a document, called a visitor record, which will show the date you need to leave by. If you don't get a stamp in your passport, you can stay for 6 months from the day you entered Canada, or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. If you need a stamp, you can ask a Border Services Officer for one. If you arrive at an airport that uses primary inspection kiosks, ask the border officer after you finish at the kiosk. Make sure you need a visitor visa before you apply. You may need a visitor visa or an electronic travel authorization. The entry document you need depends on the type of travel document you plan to travel with, the country that issued your travel document, your nationality, your method of travel to Canada for this trip. Fees starts from $100. Processing time varies by country. You may need to give biometrics with your application. This processing time doesn't include the time you need to give biometrics. Next, who can apply? Eligibility. You must meet some basic requirements to get a visitor visa. You must have a valid travel document, like a passport. Be in good health. Have no criminal or immigration-related convictions. Convince an immigration officer that you have ties such as a job, home, financial assets or family that will take you back to your home country. Convince an immigration officer that you will leave Canada at the end of your visit. Have enough money for your stay. The amount of money you will need depends on how long you will stay and if you will stay in a hotel or with friends or relatives. You may also need a medical exam and letter of invitation from someone who lives in Canada. Some people are not allowed to enter Canada. Some people are not admissible to Canada, which means they are not allowed to enter the country. You can be inadmissible for several reasons, including being involved in criminal activity, human rights violations, organized crime. You can also be inadmissible for security, health or financial reasons. Minor children traveling to Canada. Make sure you know what to do if your minor children under the age of 18, will be traveling with you, with someone else, or alone. Next, how to apply. You can apply for a visitor visa online or on paper. In most cases, you now need to give your fingerprints and photo biometrics after you apply. Find out where biometrics fits in the application process. I will put the link of this on the description below. Why you should apply online. No courier fees or mail delivery time. CIC gets your application instantly. Online applications may be processed more quickly. It avoids processing delays. Incomplete applications are returned to you. Applying online helps ensure your application is complete before you submit it. If CIC need to ask for more documents, you can quickly submit them online. You don't need to submit your passport until CIC ask for it. Get updates on the status of your application directly in your online account. Who can't apply online for a visitor visa? You must apply on paper if you're using one of the following travel documents from a visa-exempt country: alien's passport for stateless persons, or other refugee travel document for non-citizens. I will put the link of the visa-exempt countries on the description below. After you apply. This is what will happen after you apply for a visitor visa. You need to give your fingerprints and photo biometrics. In most cases, you need to give biometrics. After you pay the biometrics fee and submit your application, CIC will send you a letter that says you need to give your biometrics. The letter will tell you how and where to give your biometrics. You have up to 30 days to give your biometrics in person. If you didn't pay the biometrics fee, CIC will send you a letter asking you to do this first. You can only get the instruction letter if you pay the biometrics fee. Find out more about how to give your biometrics and where to give your biometrics. I will put the link on the descriptions below. CIC will process your visitor visa application. CIC will check your application to make sure you have all the documents you need. If it's incomplete, CIC will return your application without processing it. CIC may also ask you to go to an interview with our officials in your country. To send more information, get a medical exam, get a police certificate. CIC will tell you what to do if you need to do any of these. CIC will process most applications in a few weeks or less. Processing times depend on the visa office, and if you need to do any extra steps. CIC will return your passport and other original documents to you after they process your application. CIC won't return original bank statements or any documents they find to be fake. If your application is approved, the visa will be stamped inside your passport. If your application is refused, CIC will send you an explanation. Arriving in Canada. As of November 21, 2020, you must use ArriveCan before checking in at the airport or crossing the border to submit your travel and contact information. Quarantine plan. COVID-19 symptom self-assessment. Please bring your ArriveCan receipt, electronic or paper, with you to show the Border Services Officer upon arrival. A valid visitor visa and travel document doesn't guarantee that you can enter Canada. When you arrive, Border Services Officer will check your identity to make sure that you're the same person who was approved to travel to Canada. If you enter Canada at one of 10 major Canadian airports, your fingerprints will be checked automatically at a primary inspection kiosk. The system will check your identity against the information collected when your application was submitted. If you enter Canada at smaller airports and all land ports of entry, your fingerprints may be checked if we refer you to a secondary inspection, where a Border Services Officer will use a fingerprint verification device to check your fingerprints. Children under 18 must travel with the right documents and meet the same entry requirements as adults. The Border Services Officer may ask minor children to show other documents depending on whether the child is traveling alone or with someone. Entering Canada. If you pass the identity check and meet the entry requirements, the Border Services Officer may stamp your passport or let you know how long you can stay in Canada. You're normally allowed to stay in Canada for up to 6 months. In some cases, the officer may limit or extend your time in Canada to cover the planned purpose of your visit. Ask questions if you're not sure about something. You won't be allowed into Canada if you give false or incomplete information. You must convince the officer that you're eligible for entry into Canada, and you'll leave Canada at the end of your approved stay. Please leave a comment if you have some questions, and I will try to answer them as soon as I can. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel to keep you updated on immigration topics here in Canada. Thank you for watching.